Okay, just long at 75.25, and bit of volatility around the Chicago PMI number. Came out 8:45. Professional blue bar, almost like a kind of jump in the creek type bar here. I was expecting a little bit of strength on the 500 tip bar chart. You can see professional blue bars coming to low, exhaustion, selling, bullish divergence, and so on. So coming into that number, I suppose it just wasn't. If we'd had the professional blue bar on the 1500 prior to the turn on the down bar kind of previously, I felt more confident. But anyway, we're coming back into test, kind of made just new lows here. Rambo patterns though down at the bottom here, so this is being led by the amateurs on the downside. So the amateurs are thinking we're going to break into a downtrend. And we've had a couple of blue professional bars kind of coming in testing when we've tested these lows, and we know that the professionals have jumped in down at kind of 74.75 on the PMI number. Got a couple of professional blue bars kind of down here. The cyclical turns are a bit kind of all over the show on 1500, but we've had just one print, kind of cyclical support here. So I'm hoping this is a little bit of kind of a double bottom type pattern. We start to run to the upside. Let's see. Okay, just a couple of minutes later, and I had an email over the weekend from Ron suggesting that I name my trades, and I think, like, naming my trade taps, I think that was kind of a good suggestion. I've done it with the icebreaker trade, which by the way I missed this morning, just didn't have the right kind of cyclical turns kind of working out here. But this little sequence here is kind of now starting to go in our favor, and for me I call this a last roll of the dice. So you can see Rambo patterns kind of down at the lows here, testing down, trying to break 74. So the amateur leading all this activity, and then on the 500 tip bar chart you can see this whole series, 3 series of professional bars. When we get little Rambo patterns like here, kind of, or amateur down bars kind of testing back into the lows, and then a little sequence of, here we go, this is really starting to work out nicely, a little sequence of professional bars like this, or just one really, on a test down. It doesn't have to be a down professional bar to necessarily kind of signal that they're kind of getting involved, but they're taking the opportunity here at this point to get into this move. Almost this is the last opportunity before the thing kind of spikes and takes off. So for me this is an L-rod trade. This is the last roll of the dice where the professionals are getting in on an amateur test. It doesn't necessarily have to be Rambo patterns, but it has to be amateur kind of down bars testing the lows, and then there are little kind of professional bars that kind of come in just before we get a breakout to the upside. So let's see how far this travels. We've obviously traveled too far too fast. We hit resistance at 77, and the amateurs kind of brought this breakout here. So we're kind of testing back down again, but if we see the professionals or the amateurs kind of jump in, or the professionals jumping in and the amateurs thinking, oh, this is actually a downtrend, and we kind of break to the highs, then that's kind of a good signal. So anyway, long 75.25. And just a couple of minutes later, and the professionals just jammed it back down into 74.73. Just as I'm kind of waxing lyrical about my perfect entries, they just push it right down to new lows and try and kind of freak you out. So, but not going to do that to me. Professionals kind of came in again, cyclical turning point here. We've got bullish divergence, very little selling kind of going on there. Bullish divergence now on the 1500 tip bar chart. So they're using that as an opportunity to basically chase out the sellers. If you've kind of got, let's say you're an amateur here buying this breakout Rambo pattern, you can see it both on the 1500 and the 500, up at 76, 76.50. I know what the amateurs are usually kind of keeping stops of 1.5, 2 points, something like that. This kind of move back down, you hit your stop, and you'd have put your stop right below the kind of the new low here. So this kind of move down into 73.5, I think we made, would have kind of taken you out on your stop, and then the professionals are just using that as an opportunity to kind of shake you out. So here we go, professional blue bar on the 1500 tip bar chart. Now, not in the right place particularly, unless we're kind of jumping the creek, where we've got some kind of consolidation zone here, and they're kind of using this to kind of get going. Let's have a look. Let's see. You know, the confirmation is a half point or quarter point or something. Kind of break at the highs or lows. Is this professional buying or selling at this point? Another series of blue professional bars under 500. So hoping if we break above this cyclical resistance level here at 76, we're off to the races and we'll have a strong trending up move. Okay, here we go. We're away to the races. So we broke to 76 and a quarter. You can see all these three blue professional bars on the 1500 tip bar chart. You know, the 1500 tip bar chart and blue professional bar is really important. Good icebreaker trade in the morning for kind of 2 points. This was, you know, showing that the professionals are kind of, I don't know whether they're exiting or kind of jumping the creek. They're not sure, but this group of professional bars kind of back in the consolidation type zone. They get broken to the highs. This last third one was really interesting because we were weakening on the 500 tip bar chart. We were just testing back down into 74.5. Bearish divergence, kind of. Actually, that was a very weak selling bar there. Bit of exhaustion buying on the upside, and this is, you know, people anxiously trying to get on board of a breakout to the upside. So a little bit of weakness here with the Rambo pattern kind of coming in. So it's not all done and dusted now, but far more kind of willing to hold this for a break into an uptrend. So let's try and retest 76 and a quarter, then head back up to this resistance zone. Well, they don't want to make it easy this morning. We kind of jammed back into the 73s here on this last move down. You know, we had Rambo patterns up at the top, just showing kind of getting a little bit kind of moving too far too fast. But then this last kind of move down, first of all, kind of amateur testing bars down here. Same thing on the 1500 with no supply chart, and then we pushed even a point further. And I'm starting to think, have I got this totally wrong? Because I'm seeing kind of amateur bars at the highs here. But then the professionals kind of coming at 74 again. We got cyclical turn on the 1500 tip bar chart, bullish divergence and so on. Yeah, we're definitely in this kind of congestion zone here between, you know, kind of 73 and 76, which is a pretty wide congestion zone. But we're going to break out of this, and you know, on the 4500 tip bar chart, you can see a little bit more clearly what I think is going on. So on the you know, the down bars, the professionals were kind of accumulating here down into 73, 74, and then on this last kind of push down, it's an amateur down bar. Back testing into those lows, and the amateurs are kind of shorting at this point, whereas the professionals have been accumulating. Cyclical support, bullish divergence, less and less selling kind of going on, and eventually the sellers get kind of exhausted, and then we break. You know, the next kind of logical place to look for as a target is, you know, break up above this, which is 76, 75. So I'm still waiting for that break, but I suppose all of these tests down just give me more, well, I suppose adds to the fuel, because when the breakout happens, it'll be violent, and you know, short covering and so on. So, but it's taking its time. Okay, now just a couple of minutes later, and things are starting to come together, which is good. Let me just show you what I'm seeing on my 500 tip bar chart. So, you know, coming into these lows, we had kind of professionals buying in here, buying in again, buying in a third time, a fourth time, kind of down here. We've made a little bit of a head and shoulders, kind of inverse head and shoulders pattern here. But each time we've kind of started to run up, we've run into amateur bars, kind of up here, Rambo patterns here. Last time down, you know, so the professional blue bars down on these lows at 73, 74, kind of 75. This little break here through resistance, professional bars, and that's professionals kind of getting this move kind of going. So I'm thinking they're jumping the creek at this time. You know, we had resistance at 76.5, 76 3/4. This is at 77.5. So we've just kind of hit there, kind of pull back a little bit to this breakout point. So as soon as we break above this point here, that'll be, you know, almost a kind of confirmed uptrend, and means we're going to have a little bit of run to the upside. So that's what I'm seeing, at least on my charts. Okay, a few minutes later, and now we've kind of broken nicely to the upside in the direction of the trade, which is good. And we've hit resistance at 78. 78 was kind of the high for the morning. You know, we just gradually broke through each of these kind of resistance points: 76.5, 76 3/4, 77.5. Now we've reached kind of 78. Question is, what do you do? You've got kind of a bit of bearish divergence here, cyclical turn on the 1500 tick bar chart. We've got a cyclical turn happening on the 45, maybe kind of lining up. A little bit of amateur bars on the upside here, professional bar on the highs. But, for me, there's no professional blue bar on the 1500 tick bar chart, and as soon as we break above 78, we'll get another kind of burst of activity to the upside. So we're just finding weakness here. Not surprising after Friday. I mean, Friday was a huge down day. That we'd kind of reverse into a strong uptrend on Monday morning is kind of, not the logical thing to happen. So ideally what I'm looking for is on the 1500 tick bar chart, exhaustion buying signal and professional blue bar. So we're kind of coming back down, kind of testing this kind of breakout. But we're above cyclical support here. We're in an uptrend on the 1500 tick bar chart. So still holding. Okay, just out at 77.75. Losing a little bit of confidence in this trade. You can see we had exhaustion buying on the upside. The professional blue bar was, a little bit early. I'd have liked to have seen that right at the highs there, and then I would have, got out in the 78s. But we just had a Rambo pattern form on the 1500 tick bar chart. It's an end of trend warning signal on the 500. And we're in an uptrend, but we're not kind of, convincingly breaking above 78 into 79. So, 2.5 points, held through about 2 points a heat on the trade, so, risk return, it's not fantastic. But let's just see what sets up next. Okay, just re-entry long at 12.78 even. And the reason for doing that is this last kind of push down on the 500 tick bar chart, a little Rambo pattern, no supply, and so on. Still not convinced we've seen that kind of exhaustion kind of blow off to the end of this uptrend move. So on this little kind of retrace, I'm hoping that we'll break to new highs. So let's see where this one goes. Okay, finally taken out at 79.50. And the initial target was at 80, but just don't think we're going to make it there on this time around. So I've just pulled in the target to 1.5 on that last one, which gives me 4 for the day after 2 trades. But we've had kind of flush signals here. This is the second cyclical turn after an end of trend warning signal. Here's end of trend on the 500. Second cyclical turn. Rambo patterns up here. We could keep on going, I suppose, but just rather be out. My daily target is 4, and I have made that, so that's kind of good enough for me. Trying to eke out another half point, and risk another, 1 or 1.5 to the downside. It's kind of dumb. So, yep, out and done for the day. 2 trades, not too bad. First one took a little bit of heat, about 2 points on that one, and took a long time to get out. I think it was like over half an hour. But anyway, so I think I was pleased to got the trend direction right, and this re-entry was good. So pretty happy. Okay, and final video for today. A couple of hours later, coming up to midday, or just gone midday Chicago time. And so this is the trade. We finally reached almost 84 on the upside. So I was out at 79.50, had my target initially at 80, and it was a good call in terms of the trend direction, so I was happy with that. But I just don't have the patience, I suppose, to sit through a really slow grind up. And now we're coming into, on the 4500 tick bar chart, a whole bunch of professional blue bars at the highs, exhaustion buying on the upside here, and you can see we've had another end of trend warning signal kind of come up on the 500 tick bar chart right up here. 84. We're coming up to a second cyclical turn after an end of trend warning signal with flush signals here, and we've had all of these kind of exhaustion buying signals on 15. So I could well see us starting to have a downside move after exhaustion on the upside. But there's a couple more, 2 or 3 more points in this move. Just personally, I don't have the patience to sit through that, but eventually it did kind of work out. Hope your trading went well today.